start recording button. Wheel of Death. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, there it goes. So good morning to you all. Good midday to some of you. Good almost lunchtime for the rest of you. I met many of you either in Vegas or in Orlando, and you guys were a great crowd. I really appreciate your kindness and your kind words and your enthusiasm. More than 100. It's like 133 people patiently lined up and exchanged business cards with me because they wanted the 10 requirements for getting good traffic on their website. And I know that because I could count business cards when I got done. We came home, we added those all up, and we sent out invitations to come to this webinar. And gosh, the response was overwhelming. I really appreciate that. What that means to me is that those of you who are here on this webinar are very serious about getting your phone to ring, getting your contact us form filled out, people reaching out to you, and getting real inquiries. And that's why you're here. I'm sure there are other people who are quite serious, but they're not here today for whatever reason. But I'm glad you're here. And what I want to talk to you about is content marketing. This is how to get to the phone to ring. It just plain works. You saw me give you the big picture when we were either in Vegas or Orlando. You saw that I could give the big picture. I want to slow that down and explain to you without going into grave detail and just what content marketing is. And quite simply, here's a slide. We'll go to, whoops, we'll go here. Content marketing. There it's a very simple strategy. It's having a website. You tell stories on your website, or you update your website with relevant content to whatever it is your travel niche is. I travel here. I send my clients there. We add website. We add stories. And when we do that consistently, we do that well, it gives us good findability. And I know, there we go, there, that's a better picture. Now, and we know that works. And I'm going to show you how I know that works. When I was in Vegas, when I was in Orlando, I shared some slides. I want to show some of those slides again. For those of you from the moon or Mars or other such places that you came from, there's my alien. He is analyzing content marketing. And this was one of the slides I showed you. If you look up here on the left, it says Chaya Kanal. I can slide that over. I can expand that for you a little bit. See, it says Chaya Kanal, right? It's kind of like a dumb name. She doesn't think it's dumb. She writes about Nepal as a destination, as an interest spot for people who want to go to travel there. This is one of my students back in February, earlier this year. And so one of the points I can make here, here's the name is Chaya Kanal. Look at all the H's in there, and the K that doesn't, not sure why it's there. The point being that the actual domain name, the root domain, whatever you call your website, is not nearly as important as what you name it and the content that you put up on there and the categories that you divide it into. So she is able to get good response despite having using her own personal name. And so Chaya created a website about Nepal because that's where she's from. And here you can see those results. You go back to the beginning of February, and it's a flat line. And the reason there's a flat line there is because it didn't exist. It was a zero proposition. We started there from nowhere. So February 9th or so, right around here, is when the class started, is when she started producing. We built her a website, a very basic website, and we did plugins and all that sort of thing that you need to have. We put the information, there's a default template because we don't want people to think, well, you have to spend thousands of dollars. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. You just need a very basic website, very default template. We can title it. We can put plugins in there. We set all that, my staff set that all up for her, and on February, she began to add stories. She began to add content about Nepal because that's where she's from. That's what she knows as a destination that people might be interested. And then the class went from February till the end of April, right about here. So this would be There's April, June. This would be May would come into class, ended the last day of April, April 28th or something like that. And I could almost hear her thinking out loud, boy, was my professor stupid. I did all this work and I had nothing to show for it. You know, 50 people, 6 people, 8 people, or whatever. But then, because she was faithful and she wanted to get a good grade, she just, and did everything I told her. Not 2 or 3 days afterwards, all of a sudden, something she had written, or several things that she had written, began to catch on. And people began to search and find her out. And then look what happened. It just started growing. Isn't that cool? And then it kind of levels off. Well, I went back to her website, and it turns out that she wrote very faithfully in February, March, April, and parts of May, but then she got busy with her life because she has a job, and this was just a class. And so from June, I think she wrote a couple of times. July, she wrote once or twice. August, she wrote once, but she has written nothing since September and October, so it's almost 2.5 months. She hasn't been able to update her website. But look, the traffic keeps coming. This line here is the 200 line. Look, it's the 200 line. And even if she doesn't update her website, it keeps coming. Now here's where I want to step aside for a minute. I want to go live. Hang on there for a second. There we go. So this is the actual website to date. So you can look up here. It starts from January 1st, goes to October 31st, so up to the end of last month. I could go another couple weeks, but it just does the same thing. So this is live, right? Because I just called it up. There's January, February, didn't exist. Same picture, same screenshot we just saw. Up it goes, down it goes. And then she hasn't updated it all and all this time. But look, 150 to 200 people a day are still searching for her website on Nepal. And I know that's true, so I go to acquisition, I can show you where people are coming from. Look at this. Organic. It's being searched for. Organic. Google.com, Google.com India, Google.com Nepal, Yahoo Organic, Google Germany, Bing, it's organic, Google France. All these different countries where people are interested in whatever's happening in Nepal. Look how many people have searched for her. 35,000. Holy smokes. Somebody say, holy smokes, so that I can hear you. And from February starting till 0 up till now November, she's had 35,000 people come looking for her. Information on Nepal. Now suppose she were a traveler. She's not. She's just a student interested in Nepal and trying to tell people about that. But suppose she were an agent and people were landing on her website and saying, man, I'm really interested in Nepal. I would like to go there. There's where the connection is. She has a website. She has stories that she tells about Nepal. And sure as shooting, people show up. And that's what content marketing is. That's what content marketing does. So now I'm back to the slides. This is just a static picture from what I was showing you live there. Here is a different client. Now, Chaya's, she wasn't trying to sell anything or convert anything. But I have other clients who, in different niches, these people have a Chiron Academy, their spa. They try to sell spa retreats. So think of that as a destination where people go, a health destination kind of thing. And so they were working really hard trying to get people to show up. They Google organic search from January till March. They had 25 people come look for them. I said, okay, you guys, listen, let me show you how to put your website and how to add content. And so the content will go to market for you on your website. So in the same time period, January to March, about 11 weeks, from April to June, an equal time period, the only difference was they began to create content that was relevant. Website plus stories equals findability. They went from 25 to 480 searches. Holy smokes. That's 20 times. That's 2,000% increase. But what's even more important, these same company, from January to March, nobody went to the contact form. But then from April to June, same 11-week period, comparing 11, all of a sudden 34 people went to the contact us form. 0 people said thank you. 4 people said thank you. So because more people are searching for it, they're getting more inquiries. They're getting more, hey, contact me, right? So here's another fellow. This guy's in Alabama. He's a motivational speaker. He wanted to. He wrote a book and wanted to sell his book. Publisher says, well, you have to be online. If people are not searching for you online, we're not going to publish your book. He got his book published. But look, from October to March, he had a static website. We put something up there. So I wish the phone would ring. But then from April to September, same time period in comparison, I guess 18 weeks or 20 weeks, I don't know exactly. But in 20 weeks, 116 people found him. But then when he started creating content that was relevant on his very simple website that we created for him, it went from 100 to 5,000. That's a 50 times increase. Wow. And look, how many people from October to March were requesting booking info? 0. But then when he went to work producing content, it went up to 160 people asking for booking information. Not only that, nobody was referring him last year from October to March, but then when he started updating content plus website plus stories, all of a sudden 15 people started to refer him. And then here's another. This is a functional medicine doctor. What's that? It doesn't matter. October to March, she had 30 people search for her and find her. She started writing about her stories of how her functional medicine makes a difference in people's lives. So it's a niche, and she started creating the website plus stories equals findability, went from 30 to 4,000. That's a huge jump. And look, same person from October to March, nobody asked for an application. Then from April to September, 260 people asked for an application. From October to March, nobody touched the contact. From April to September, 107 people contacted. October, so she has 2 different routes where people can contact her, then from 0 to 50. So point, when you have good, solid, relevant content on your website with regard to the destination or the service you're trying to sell, people search for it, they find it, and because they're searching for it, they are more apt to touch the contact us form. We call that a call to action. They're more apt to follow through on the call to action. I'm 100% confident that I can get people to take a look at any website. I can get them to take a look at any website. I can also get them to go to the contact us form. What I cannot do is make them buy something. Nobody, because you might not be any good. If you're no good, nobody can sell you. But content, if it's good and it's solid and it's relevant, it's searchable, and when it's searchable, that content goes to market for you. One of the points I made in Vegas and in Orlando is cheaper for people to find you than it is for you to find them. When you sit down in front of your computer and you build this content, you add this content to your website, and you do it at a consistent pace, people show up. I'm going to show you another live another live picture here in a minute. But here's a case that no matter what I do, I can't help you. If you don't pay your hosting bill, your website will die. Your website will die. I want to take you to a class I'm teaching right now. This is an active class. This was just published November 13th, 2003. So it was 2013. It was published just yesterday. This is a group of students here in the Bay Area, and some of them are in Southern California. I think one is in Orlando. They either taking it online, and if they're local, they can show up and physically sit in the classroom, and I talk to them. But I talk while I'm looking, while I have my headphones on, so we can record it for the remote people. But here's a group of students who started on August 21st. They started on August 21st, and 12 months, or 12 months, 12. This is the 13 weeks. So we've been doing this for 13 weeks. In 13 weeks, Diana, she has a book. She's a Christian. She wants to sell her book. And so in the first 13 weeks, she's had 2,000 visitors come to her website, 7,700 page views, from 0 to 2,000 to 7,700. This is Mike Procopio. He's trying to sell a service to help people build websites and get visibility. He's trying to compete with me. Go, Mike, go. And so he's gotten 1,200 unique visitors and 5,900 pages viewed from, and he started 13 weeks ago. just by do this what I tell you to do. Mia May, this is my all-time favorite because this is my daughter. She's 5 years old. Mia's 5 years old, and she's got 8,700 unique visitors, 25,000 pages. Holy smoke! And 360 from search. She's got a dad who's got connections. That's different. This is Silas. Silas.com. I love this guy. This guy's an idiot, but I love him. He's a redneck. I'm serious. I mean, it's a serious redneck going on here. Go to Silas.com. They got a redneck in Silicon Valley, and he just writes about high tech and all the goings on from a redneck point of view. It's hilarious, and it's really, really useful. And he started 12 weeks ago. Zip, zero, nada. Now he's had 1,000 people come to his website, almost 500 via search. And then Mac cutting boards. Yeah, go to maccuttingboards.com. You need a cutting board? Of course, everybody needs a cutting board. If you don't want to cut something on it, you can whap somebody with it because they're really, really, really hard, and it hurts when you get hit with them. But Josie started, back August 21st. She had a website. It was there, but I'm not doing anything. And then she starts doing something. She's had 1,200 people come visit her website, come visit her cutting board site, and she's beaten somebody who sells cutting board. I don't know the guy's name, but she's up on the front page with Crate and Barrel and Bed Bath and Beyond and Target and all these guys. Yeah, little Josie, sweet and kind as can be, is competing with the big guys. And 6,000 pages viewed, 700 via search, and in the last week alone, it jumped from 100 per week, 100 per week, up to 300 per week. So all these people started, 12 weeks ago, 13 weeks ago from zero, and they started producing content on their website. The website plus content equals findability, and there it is. There's the results. And these lower ones, these are my students that I was showing you before. Jeannie, in the same 13-week period, she went from 0 to 4,000, and so on. And Samia, Jeannie, she writes about health, nutrition, social media buff. She writes about social media in the buff. No, I'm kidding. But now, never mind. But there she went up to 2,000. There's Chaya, the one I was showing. She went up to 2,000 in 13 weeks. So on, so on, so on. The point being, website plus content that's relevant to whatever it is, the destination you want, whether it's a cruise to a specific location, whether it's a wedding service to Hawaii, whether it's diving in the Caymans, whether it's, it doesn't matter. You want to take people on World War II trips, throughout France. Whatever it is you're trying to sell, you create a website, you build content, you create content on that topic. It equals findability for people who are interested in that. The next thing you know, hey, I want to go there. Hey, this person can tell me how to do that. So here we go. High five. Somebody high five, high five. Just Chinese, jayo, jayo. And then if you can speak Russian, davai, davai. All saying the same, yoisho, yoisho. That's Japanese, of course. This is your opportunity to change your world. Because this is, you'll remember these slides, right? You change your world. Here you are sitting, I wish the phone would ring. Look at the television. I wish the phone would ring. And the next thing you know, the phone's ringing. You're just busy like a crazy person. Content marketing brings real and relevant people to your website. That's what it does. And the way you do that, the formula is very simple. The strategy is very basic. But fundamental website, default website, use WordPress, add good quality content, and because that's what I teach, and it's beyond the scope here. What does the good quality content look like, and how often do you do it? That's again beyond the scope here. Website plus content, relevant content equals findability, and busy, 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 busy. So there are two next steps, two options for the next steps. And I'm not a very good salesperson, so just hang out here, bear with me a little bit. One option is do it yourself. And what that means is DIY means do it yourself. Is what happens is I can teach you how to do this. We have classes out here, or it can be done remotely. It's a 16-week class, and you start from zero. There's a syllabus, and there's live, me online yelling at you to do things. Do it this, that's not right, and giving you feedback. people say they want feedback. That's not true. They want people to say nice things to them. Well, I'll say something nice, but then I'll also give you something real, because what you really want is results. So it's a 16-week class, and at the end of 16 weeks, 3,000 people will come to your website. You'll get 3,000 unique visitors, and you'll have 10,000 pages viewed. All right, give your money back, provided you do what I tell you. We install Google Analytics, and I get to your dashboard so I can see that you're doing or not doing what I ask you. But you know visitors convert because they touch the contact us form. They say, call me up or email me this information. So at the end of 16 weeks, you have 3,000 visitors, 10,000 page views, where I give you money back. So of course, how much does it cost? We usually sell it for $990, but because I met you guys in Orlando, there it is, $890. That's as salesy as I can possibly get. You just go to here. You can see the link, belew.com. Log in there now if you want. belew.com, IMU/travel, and then there's a code, password, OTravel. If you don't put OTravel in there, you cannot get the discount. And it'll be up till midnight tonight. Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel weird because I'm not a salesy person. I just want you to take the class, and I want your life to change, because it will. When the phone rings, it changes. If you don't get your money back, something's seriously wrong here. It works. And if it doesn't work, I'll give you your money back. But you have to do what I tell you to do. So that's one option. The other option is, it's called DFY. That's a done-for-you kind of a thing. And then that way you only have to write one thing one time. It's just got lots of zeros in there. And that means I'll do it for you. I have a staff of 45 writers. My 45 writers is somebody in my network that knows something about what it is that you do, whether it's cruising or hiking or backpacking or schlepping through Europe, that kind of thing. I'll know somebody who can write about those topics for you. They sit down, they brainstorm with you until we got your focus down, and we do all the work. We do all the legwork. And okay, that costs money too. There you go, $1,000 to $5,000 a month or more, depending on what you want. And we ask for a 9 to 12 month commitment because it takes time. You remember the slides. There's a long flat period before something takes off. So we ask for a 9 to 12 month period, and you think, and it'll work. It just plain works. And if it doesn't work, we give you money back, that kind of thing. Or, and if that's too much, what we do is we can cut this in half. Seriously, I'll cut it in half, and you can pay me based on the results. So we'll show you how many times you've been searched by Google. We'll show you how many times your contact form. You'll pay us by the Google search, by the contact us form, so based on results, not based on sales, because I can't sell it. I can just get people to call you, but I can't sell you. So we cut that number in half, and you pay us on the results. But that's a case-by-case basis, because there are different responses to different products. And if you're trying to sell a $60,000 Tesla, you're not going to get as many contact forms as somebody who's trying to buy a $600 cruise to the Southern Caribbean. And email me. Just email me at bill@belew.com and say, Bill, I want to talk about you doing this for me. And then one of my team members will call you up, and we'll follow up very quickly. And it all depends on your goal. So those are the two options. Midnight tonight for the $100 discount thing. First come, first serve. This is important, because there's 113, I think was the number of people give me their business cards. I cannot do this for people. If you're selling cruises to Caribbean and somebody else is selling cruises to Caribbeans, I can't take both of you. I won't do it. That would be uncool, because I cannot promise both of you to be number one in the same niche. So if it's your niche, the first one to say, hey, Bill, help me do it in this niche, they go first. And if there's another person says, I want to do it in that niche too, I say, too bad, I can't do it. You get that. It won't work. So it's a first come, first served basis. So out of the 113 of you who are going to ask me, say, hey, can you help me send people to the Northeast? Can you help me some people on Alaskan cruises out of San Francisco only, or something like that? The first person to ask is the first person will either sign up for the class or agree to do that for them. No two people in the same niche. There you go. That's my spiel, and I'm sticking to it. If you want to do it yourself, IMU-travel@belew.com. And if you try to do it for yourself, and I encourage you to do that, you need to know what it takes to get people to show up to your website. If you try it yourself and you say, oh my goodness, this is too much work, oh, I don't really have time, this is really not my strength, you know, $890 for Pete's sake. And if you find, I just don't have time to do this, we can take that $890 and we'll apply it to the done for you. And you can just switch it over to there and you haven't lost anything. Because we charge $890, I think it's $1,012, I don't know. We charge about $1,000 to set the site up and get everything set up for you. Well, you won't have to pay that because we've already done this. You lose nothing by trying it yourself, except for the possibility that the phone's going to ring, the contact form is going to be filled out. So if you want to do it for yourself, go here, put the password in. There's a PayPal thing, or you can pay by credit card via PayPal, and do it before midnight because I'll take the password down by midnight because I have to do a thing. Or if you want to do it for me, or if you want us to do it for you, just email me at bill@billblue.com and somebody will call you up. That's my spiel, and I'm sticking to it. Does anybody have any questions? No. Wendy asked me, do I lose control of my website? Does it stay with the same host? No, Wendy, it is yours. We want it on your host, not on anybody else's host. And that's a great question, because we will give you full access to everything that's doing it. This complete transparency. You say, what are you doing? And you pick up the phone and you'll talk to Kevin. Kevin is my senior project manager. I love Kevin to death, but I'm warning you, he uses 10 words when 2 is enough. But by the time you're done, you know exactly what he's doing. And we are completely transparent. If somebody says we can do marketing and we can do SEO and we can do all that stuff for you, but we can't tell you how we do it because it's a trade secret, run. Run as fast as you can from them, because I will show you exactly everything we do. So if you're doing it, if you take the class, you will see what the process is. If it's a done for you or you're just paying us to do it, we will still give you complete access, and you can kick us out anytime you want. We hope you don't do that. But no, you have control. You have full admin privileges. You do not lose control. Okay, does that answer your question, Wendy? So how long does this take? Well, as I mentioned, we ask for a 9 to 12 month commitment, because depending on the specific niche market, you know, if you say, I just want to rank for cruise ships, well, good luck with that, because you're going to compete with Carnival and Celebrity and Crystal and Azamara and the whole shebang. So here's a $1,200 lesson for you. Cruise ship. That's a 2-word phrase, cruise ship. Only 10% of the people in the world put the words cruise ship into the search engine. Only 10%. So if all you're trying to get people to find you as a cruise ship, you're only aiming for 10% of the internet population. One word, you know, cruise. I want to go on a cruise. You know, and that's another 10%. But 3-word phrases like cruises, cruise ships in the Caribbean, cruise tour, you know, South Asian cruises. That's a 3-word phrase. 3-word phrases and 4-word phrases make up 75% of searches. So we're going to pound on you until we come up with a good 3-word and 4-word phrases, several good 3-word and 4-word phrases, so that those terms get found by a much larger audience. Gives you a bigger response. So I forgot what I was going to say. So anyway, we will build that website. We'll give you full transparency, and we will show you how to do it. Are the classes held at a specific time? Are they interactive? So yes, the classes are held every Wednesday from noon till 3 at they're physical, noon to 3 on the left coast here where we live in San Jose. It's in Mountain View, California. Now, you can get on a plane to go to Mountain View every week, but I turn on the webinar just like we have going on here so that we can interact. There are other students, the students in the class who have gone before you. There are students joining weekly, almost daily. I had a student join yesterday, Jenny. She's a Toastmaster girl, blah, blah, blah. And so you have access to students who are a few steps ahead of you. So it's a rolling enrollment. It's not like everybody starts on the same day. It doesn't have to go that way. So you have the advantage of people who have gone on, and they can link to you, that backlink, that inner juice. That's powerful. So anybody who's in the class gets the emails and the contacts of everybody else who's been in the class. And you can ask questions live, just like we're doing here, and you listen into the webinar as I'm talking just like this. And if you can't make it, well, that's okay too, because we record the thing, and then we'll send you the link, and then you can watch it. And then there's always email going back and forth, and in the worst case or in the best case, I don't know, pick up the phone and we'll talk to you, because we do that for the students in the class. And so the answer to that question is they are live every week, Wednesday, noon to 3 Pacific time, and they are interactive because we can do it this way. You know, granted, there's constraints when we do it online, but we still make it live as best as I possibly can. Okay, let's answer that question. So, you know, how can I get more traffic to my website now? That's a great question, and that's an easy answer for me. 100 times out of 100, if somebody says, I don't have enough traffic on my website, how can I get more people to come to my website? 100 out of 100 times is write something relevant and add that to your website. Add more content. It is an absolute fundamental fact of life, principle of life, that the more content you have on your website, the more findable you are. You say, well, I have this page. You see, I don't want to, everybody reads books. Well, I read books on search engines, right? If I had to go to the Philippines. I was speaking in the Philippines, so I read this big fat tome on Google and how Google works and all that sort of thing. Well, I'm not a fan of Google and search engines and all that stuff, but I need to have an understanding of what goes on. And again, I'm not a fan of Google, but Google does tremendous work. They have these what they call server farms, and it's nothing more than a bunch of computers sitting around in a room. And they got these little hard disks. They look like CDs, except they're fat. And so they have a server farm with these little fat CDs in there, and one server location is the size of an entire football field. Holy cow, the football field, and it's 7 stories tall. 7 stories tall football fields filled with little fat CD players, right? And they have 24 of these facilities throughout the world. And on those discs, on those little fat CDs, they have a page. They have your website on there. Anything you put on your page, they put on that CD. And it lives there, and it just sits there. And if you never change your website, the search bot will never come, and they'll never come, because why would they? Nothing ever changed. But if you change something on your website, Google and Bing, they'll send something to your website and say, what changed? And then if you change it again, they'll go back and find out what changed. And every time you change it, they go back to their little CD players, they change stuff. And they keep adding to that. And the more you put on your web page, the more they add to their indexing so that you're more findable. You see, more on your website equals more findable. If you want more people to come to your website, put more stuff up there for people to find that relates to what you're trying to sell. You know, don't write about your daughter's kindergarten class if you're trying to get, you know, people to go take the Trans-Siberian Railway. I've done that. I'm part of it, so I wouldn't do the whole thing. So that's as simple advice I can do. I can give is, if you want more people to come to your website, put more stuff up there. All right, so I don't want to stretch this out. I promised 45 minutes. It's been 43 minutes since the top of the hour. Does anybody else have any other questions? You know, I went to encourage it. Gosh, like I said, I'm surprised of how many of the 113 of y'all showed up here. Again, I'm not trying to pressure, blah, blah, blah. It's a first come, first serve. I can't do 2 people in the same niche. And then, so if you sign up before midnight tonight for the class, $100 off. That's as salesy as I can get. And if you really don't want to go to work, then just, you know, write me a big check and I'll do it for you. Does anybody else have any other questions before I hit the stop recording button? I love you guys. I really appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate your time. Oh, so what are the startup procedures? So, okay, so I want to take the class, for example. The next thing, you know, you go, you pay the money, and within a day, less than a day, probably if you did it by noon this afternoon, you'll get a phone call from Kevin. And Kevin will say, get your pencil and paper out. He's going to talk to you to death. We're going to find out what your domain name is. We're going to find out where you're hosted at. And we're going to make sure that WordPress is installed. And then You're going to make him admin, and then he's just we're going to talk until he gets it all set up so that it's ready for us to it's ready for you to put the content on there. And then Kevin will start sending you links to stuff that we've already done. We'll send you the syllabus so that you can know what's going to be expected of you for the next 16 weeks. That 16-week syllabus, is the exact same requirements that I made of my students back in February of this year. Remember, Chaya went from 0 to 21 or 35,000 via Nepal, and Jeannie in health and nutrition. It's the same course. It's the same course that Diana and Mike and Tyler and my daughter Mia May and Josie. It's the same course that these guys are taking. So we'll send that to you so you'll know exactly what's expected of you, and then you'll get a schedule of when the next class is and the login information so that you can be there, and then off you go. And there'll be some homework given. There'll be a lot of homework given, but it's not unreasonable. I'm not going to tell anybody to strip naked and run around the building. It's the same requirements. That this is how much work you do. I'm going to lay out the benchmarks. If you do this, you'll see this kind of result, and we'll lay that out as clearly as I possibly can. You'll get a code to access the book. It's a textbook, marketing with social media. It's really, really, really good. Okay, I know that because I wrote the thing. But it's very matter of fact. It's a no-nonsense thing. Just here are the steps. Here's the background. So, and plus we have the live interaction week after week. So you'll get access to all that. And then we get to talk. And we pick up the phone and we're real people. So that's the next step. So as soon as somebody pays, within hours, if not within hours, absolutely by tomorrow. And if you don't get a phone call by tomorrow, I'll call you. Because we will just do that. So that's what happens after you get that's what happens after you sign up. So how do I start writing content on my website? Well, the way you start putting content up on your website, if you can write email, you can put content on your website. WordPress is that easy. There are some very fundamental rules, and that's all part of the course. At the risk of making this sound way too technical, the search engines will tell you there's 220 things that go into a perfect page. Well, I've learned that there are 10 things. Just do those 10 things, and those are the business cards I gave you. Just do those 10 things on your website, 500 or 1,000 or 1,500 times, whatever your goals are, and you'll get the results. And you don't have to take the class. Just take those 10 things and go with it. But one of the benefits of the class is the other people you get to interact with, and the linking that you get to get back on. Because being found, I think it's number 8 on the list. You've got backlinks, internal links, and external links. Backlinks, reaching out to other people who are working on their sites at the same level you are is extremely important for getting results. So that's what I just, if you've got a host and if you've got a domain name, you've got host, and you've got WordPress installed, just go to the dashboard, hit posts, start writing. And you'll be ahead of the rest of the crowd. All right, any other questions before I sign off here? So within an hour or two, depending on how fast YouTube uploads things, I'm going to stop recording this, I'll upload it, we'll put it in the link, and then we're going to send it out to all of you who are here, and some of you who signed up couldn't make it, or some of you who had to leave early, that sort of thing. Again, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I want this to work. I know it will work, but it's still work. There's nothing hard about it. What's hard about it is being faithful. It's not rocket science. They're very fundamental basics. You do this and this and this and stay with it. Knowing what to do is not nearly as hard as getting to it day after day. Oh, how much time? So here's the last question, and I'm going to hit the end button for sure. How long does it take? I think, depending on how resourceful you are, I guess is the word I'm looking for, this can be done in about 3 hours a day. It's about a 3-hour commitment. If you get really fast, you can do it 2 hours maybe, or even faster if you're really fast. And I know that based on experience, based on my students, based on their feedback. It's about a 3-hour, solid commitment per day for marketing, for content marketing that will build your website. 3 hours a day. And if you're really slow and dumb, it might take longer than that. But I'm kidding. So about three hours a day is the commitment. day after day after day for about 16 weeks with specific instructions and guidelines on my point, from my part on what to do. All right, that's my, I don't see any other questions. All right, again, thanks very much. I'm going to stop recording. You guys have a great day, and see you in class, I hope. Bye-bye.